Hey,
Hello.
This is Hannah.
And Calissa.
And Sarah. And we're just going to talk about like something local that's happening.
Yeah, so if you're not local, you don't care.
Bye. Sarah.
Not like you don't. I'm just saying you don't have to stick around if you don't want to. That's cool.
I stick around because I'm nosy.
We're going to talk about
good gossip sesh.
yes, some daycare drama.
Yes. So there's a daycare here in town, and they abruptly are closing this Friday. Like
Is it a center?
Yes.
Is it a state center though? I forget.
I think they have to be.
It's in home, but is it?
No.
Yeah, Angel is, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I was thinking it was.
They have a facility.
Oh,
So
what
it
am
has
I
to be
thinking
more
of?
of a center.
Okay.
I'm thinking of something else. But yep, they are closing this Valentine's Day, and they didn't let their staff know that they were closing this early. They didn't let parents know. So now all these parents are on Facebook. They're like, "Hey, I still have to work. I need someone to watch my kids." And people are like, "What is going on?" And so now all these all these people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I can watch your kids. I'll watch your kids. Oh yeah, I've worked with children before. I can do that." And then other people are like, "Really? Do your research, people. Like, ask for references. Ask if there's
Do background
CPR,
checks.
criminal background checks, and everything." Because a lot of people, they're just like, "Yeah, just watch my kid." Like some people just like, "Yeah, you look good," and then they'll just hand them off. And then people are like, a little bit more like, tell me everything about yourself.
Yeah.
Can I call your jobs, your past previous job, all that stuff. So then I'm just like, I can't imagine being in a situation like that. Like if I had to work to like pay for childcare and to keep my house afloat or bills afloat. And I can't imagine they just be like, yep, we're closing in like 3 days. So we didn't like give you a month, 2 months notice.
That's
It
crazy.
takes people like sometimes their whole amount of pregnancy to be able to find a daycare
Yeah.
or longer.
Yes. I mean, when
If
Craig
they're
and
on
I
waiting lists.
went through a long, like about 2-month chunk where we were like, do we want to have a fourth kid? Do we not? And we asked around at daycares if they would have daycare available in fall of 2026.
Oh my gosh.
And they were all booked within reasonable distance of our house. And she's like, well, I've got 2 other families that are thinking about expecting around that time, and I've got, it's just not going to work.
Right.
So before we even thought about getting pregnant, we tried, and nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it
know
takes
my sister talks about that sometimes because they're teachers. So like every once in a while they'll have like things that are connected to a school or whatever, and that's fine. But other times like they're like, well, I don't know what to do. Like we're out of daycare today. Like I have to go to work still, but like our kids aren't in daycare. Like they're, so yeah, it's tough.
Yep. When you get pregnant, you let your parents know and you call a daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
If you're planning on going back to work, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought I was. And then so when Nick and I, he was an electrician, I was a hairstylist. We looked into a daycare that I'm like, oh, they seem reputable and good. And then they told us the price, and we're just kind of like nodding our head like, And then we got in the car, and I'm like, my work's paycheck literally won't even pay for this daycare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, because they're like, oh yeah, like it was like a dream daycare. Yep, all the kids wear a sleep sock, that owl.
Oh, yeah.
And that we do this. They make sure we get this and that. Like it just sounded like awesome.
Yeah.
But then the price, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. You pay for quality.
That's why I ended up staying home because my whole entire paycheck would have gone to paying for daycare. And it's like, why am I paying my whole paycheck to go for my kids to go to daycare when we could also just not have that paycheck and I stay home?
In the summer, we drive them about 25 minutes away, which is the closest facility that would have room for the boys, all 3 of them during the summer. Drive them about 25 minutes one way. We pay $105 a day. And then we have to drive down there, pick them up, drive back, pick them up. So it's crazy trying to find daycare in the summer as well for the school-age kids.
Well, and it's do you have like a Parks and Rec that has like a summer program for kids?
Yes, the daycare takes them to that.
Okay. Because I feel like that's kind of nice to have like school-age kids because, I think they start at 5 or 6 years old and then they can do the summer program. And they do a bunch of fun stuff with them.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, that's kind of fun.
Those only last like 2 to 3 weeks at a time, like where I'm from, though. So it's like
Yeah, it depends on the community for sure.
Yeah. but I need to look into some of those for this summer because I need to get my kids out.
Yeah. I know there's like some day like Bible camps and stuff too that some people rely on for that kind of stuff. But yeah, wowzers.
Yeah.
Did you do it? Did you guys do any summer programs or Bible camps or anything like that?
My kids are too young. I'm
No,
still
as
too nervous.
yourself.
Oh, me, yeah.
So I grew up in an in-home childcare.
Okay.
Yes.
I was a center daycare.
Yes.
Oh.
My mom did childcare in our house from the time I was kindergarten until I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's a long time.
So I'm very familiar. My mom taught childcare classes, how to get state registered, all of the things. So I'm very familiar with how the daycare, in-home daycare system works,
How it should
things
work.
like that. Yes.
So what was your mom's routine then? When did she start?
It depended on the day. For a while, I can remember her starting at like 5:30 in the morning and going until about 5:30 at night.
Oh my gosh.
There was one summer she fed 19 mouths, including all of us kids and my dad, for lunch every day.
Holy
Because
moly.
us kids were counted as helpers, could be counted as helpers.
Once you're at a certain age. Yeah.
Right. So my older sisters were helpers, so that increased the number of kids that she could have. So yeah, legally she had 19 mouths to feed every day for
crazy.
lunch.
Oh my goodness.
There was a lady that lived like kind of across the street from us that did in-home my whole childhood. And we would always like ride the bus with a bunch of kids that she was watching in daycare.
Yeah. And then I babysat like crazy. I was pretty much a nanny for 2 families in the summer, and I would pretty much get done with one babysitting job and go to the next babysitting job. So I'm
What did
familiar
they
with-
expect you to do?
One was really good, the one that I watched during the day. So the kids were old enough to be at home kind of by themselves. So one was in like 6th grade and the other was in like 3rd grade. And so I could come when I wanted to come, take them where they needed to go, serve them lunch, hang out a little bit afterwards, and then I could leave.
That's how my sister's was at that around that time, like high school.
Yes. Which is kind of what we're transitioning into with our kids, which they're a little young for it. But I'll be upstairs napping and they can be downstairs by themselves while I nap and Anders naps. So I don't know if that's right or wrong or otherwise. It's just what's working for our family right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I struggle with childcare, and we don't have childcare on Wednesdays because Wednesdays are the days that preschool is off.
Oh, yes.
So we have a nanny come in on Wednesdays and watch Anders. She's our regular nanny that we have all the other days too.
So, these parents that are trying to find childcare and like trying to find like, there's a lot of people out wanting nannies, babysitters, working, I don't know the shifts, but what do you look for in a nanny? Like when you're interviewing someone totally new. You don't know them. You don't know their family. Nothing.
I don't know if I would do it if I didn't know them.
Really?
Like I know of them or they've been like referenced, or I've made posts on Facebook before that are like, hey, we're looking for a new high school help to help with our kids or whatever. And usually someone refers somebody, you know what I mean?
Okay,
It's
so
very
you
rare.
have that, like the small town.
I feel like that's different too because you're in such a small area.
Yes.
Everybody
Everybody knows
relies on
somebody.
each other to
Yes.
utilize, but like not necessarily even here, but like bigger cities like Minneapolis or Des Moines or something. Like how then?
Yeah.
I know they have a lot more options for centers and stuff.
Oh,
but
yes.
like if you're looking for someone like a more nanny style,
Yeah.
then like good luck. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you know people then? I don't know.
Because I always just, because we have like 2 girls that I have, either this girl or this girl, whoever is available. And we always choose the other girl first because she is not a high schooler. So her schedule's a little bit more flexible and open. But yeah, a family had her, they used her a lot in babysitting. They're like, oh yeah, you should get her. So that's how we found her. And then when she wasn't available, I went onto a mom's Facebook page here and I was like, any babysitters? And a couple, oh, my daughter's in high school, she can do it. And I'd kind of like look at them and like ask them like, okay, how long have you been or what's your experience? Oh, I worked at this daycare for a while. I still work there part-time. And I'm like, okay, so she works in a center. should be good. So,
Right. Well, you know that if they work at a center that they've had background checks, they've had
Yes.
fingerprinting and things like
Yes.
that.
And they legally require then for them to be like CPR trained and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So I was like, okay, we'll try you out.
Yeah.
Here's a thought. We're going on vacation next week. Have you guys heard of the vacation babysitters?
I heard about this. I think, were we talking about it when people went to Disney? They were hiring people to stay with like babies or
I don't
something.
think we were talking about
Okay,
it.
I must have heard this on TikTok maybe then. But yeah, it's like you hire someone basically to like hang out with your kids while you vacation.
Yeah, go do adult
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So we've considered it and we're looking into it, but there's a lot of, I've asked about like, there's a Facebook group called
Yep.
Things to Do in Fort Lauderdale or whatever. And I've asked about like where to find a babysitter. And there's a bunch of people in the comments like, oh, I could watch them. I could watch them. I could
Ooh,
watch
yeah,
them. It's like,
ew.
no, that's not what I, like care.com or there's,
Care.com was nice. I used that for a while with Cutter.
yeah. Yeah. And that was good for you?
Yeah.
Good.
Because you have to pay for the subscription. And so I'm like, okay, they have to pay. So
They
they
have to be registered.
Yep,
Right.
registered. And then, yeah, they have criminal backgrounds and everything with Care.
Yeah.
So
I might look into that. Would you guys ever do that? Consider that on a vacation?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Depending on what it was for. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you go to a resort. I know resorts are now starting to like do that now. Like,
Yeah,
oh, we
sometimes
have
they'll
like
have a
a
facility.
daycare
Yeah.
for like your kids, so you and your husband, whatever, can go out and do stuff when we can watch. I've heard a couple people doing that.
See, so we're doing a resort pass. Have
You
guys heard
should
of
see
those?
if they have that
Yes.
at this resort that you're.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're just down the street from Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Love that for you.
So we're gonna go there for the day.
Yeah.
It'd be
Nice.
really nice if they did have some kind of kids programming. Mm-hmm. We could use that for the day. That would be super fun.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice because I always think about that, and then I always tell my mother a lot, "I'll just go with you." I'm like, I know it's nice, but then she also wants to do something too. So
Yes.
then I'm like,
Defeats the purpose a little bit.
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would be nice to have like a stranger to kind of be like, I don't have to feel bad.
Not a stranger, but like,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Someone strange. Well, yeah, stranger.
Yeah, I know what
But
you
like,
mean.
yeah.
Sorry.
But I wouldn't feel bad. Like, oh, I want you to have fun too. When I'm like,
Right.
no, I'm paying you.
It's
to-
not someone you're
yeah.
inviting on the trip. It's someone who's there to do a very specific job. That's not like part of your
Yeah,
plans. Yeah.
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 I would, look into it. Care.
Yeah, I would too.
Care was nice because they just pick out from the locations. So
It's kind of going on what you were saying. I've had this question written down for a really long time. And it's, what age do we feel is appropriate to start leaving kids? Whether it be like them in the car by themselves when you like run into the grocery store, or I know that a lot of people say don't do that at all, ever. I think car when
seat.
they leave at home.
No,
like,
car
you
seat
know.
manuals because I would read them and they're like, do not leave your kid in the car
Unattended.
longer than like 2 minutes. I'm thinking, and I'm like, what?
Well, that when they're really young, that has to do with like suffocation risks. But I'm just curious what your guys' feelings are, because Gus is getting to the age, he's 8. He's getting to the age now where he's asking to stay home by himself. And I'm like, listen, you're not very responsible, so I'm going to say no. But when he's 10, 11, 12, like what's the age that is deemed appropriate now?
I would say 10 or 11.
10, 11?
I have an 8, almost 9-year-old now, and 8.5, I guess.
Yep, mine
And
too.
I think if they had a cell phone, that would feel much better. They don't. And
They
they
have
won't.
cell phones for like family. Like
Yes.
literally, it just calls
Like
your mom or
Cricket
your
or
dad.
whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like your home phone.
Yep.
Because we used to have home phones all the time.
Yeah, we
that
did.
that was fine. That was a
Yeah.
good safety, whatever. I was left alone at a very young age.
Me too. But that was because our dad was dead. So
Yeah.
we're like, what else do we do?
Right.
You know?
But I can remember they would be out because we grew up on a dairy farm. So I was left alone. So we sold the cattle when I was in kindergarten. And I can remember being left alone at home younger than that because everybody was out doing chores. And I could either go out and do chores with them, but that's also poses its own risk of being a child on
Absolutely.
a farm. That's very dangerous. So, yeah.
Yep. My parents were home, but they weren't.
Yes.
But they were in the field, or they were
They were doing chores.
the pigs or
And
whatever.
then, so I don't know how old I was, but
And you were the oldest too. So like that's even, you know, you maybe would have more responsibility later as your brothers came along and everything.
No, but I was by myself and started a fire in the microwave, just turned the microwave off and then never touched it again.
Oh my gosh.
Well, because we got chicken, fried chicken, and it was still in the takeout box.
Oh, no.
And it had that film.
Metal.
gosh.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I'm hungry for chicken.
Yep.
Oh geesh.
But that's how you learn.
Yeah. How old were you guys when you started cooking for yourselves?
Oh, young.
I can remember making ramen noodles for as long as I can remember.
I don't know that I did before my dad died, I guess. I don't really remember.
Just always
but I
did
feel like
cereal. I didn't do oven
Yeah.
or anything.
we
Stovetop,
did-
no.
We did a lot of microwave stuff, yeah, by the time.
Microwaves and
Yeah.
cereal. I lived on cereal.
I don't think we ever ate a lot of cereal, but we did do a lot of microwave stuff. Like, oh my gosh, those pastaroni boxes. Do you guys ever, you didn't eat those? Oh my gosh, those are the best. Pasta Primavera, delish. Catherine would know what I'm talking about. Also, microwave burritos, where it's like a tortilla and then like Kraft singles. There's like 2 or 3 of those cheeses in there, and you just microwave it for like 15 seconds until it's like warm and melty and gooey. Ugh,
We call
delish.
those cheesy wheezies.
Oh, so
You take
good.
just a tortilla and you put a bunch of cheese on it and you microwave it for 40 seconds. And my kids love cheesy wheezies.
So good. I would probably not eat it now. No, I would eat it. I would. For nostalgia purposes, probably. But yeah, I don't know. I was curious because I was like, man, Gus really wants to stay home.
I leave the kids at home. Like I said, they're downstairs while I nap. So kind of one of those things. I'm home. You can come wake me up, but I'm sleeping. Kind of like they're out doing chores. You can come get us if you need us, but they're gone. And I always joke that kids are just going to have to join an emotional support group for parents who work night shift because
Yeah, but regular people are like that too because like Calvin was never around and sometimes I would get migraines and I would just have to go. Like that's the only way I could get rid of them was to go sleep.
yeah,
So what do you do? Like we still have to be humans and live
Yeah.
lives. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. We
Not
do.
condoning like leaving your kids alone when they're like a year old or whatever, you know, but
I have very low. You're like, I would never leave my kid in the car. I leave my kid in the car all the time.
yeah, but you also live in a small area.
I do,
so, you know,
yeah.
people naturally look out for people that they
Yes.
know. And so if you're
So
around
like
people
I've
that you know.
ran into the pharmacy, I've ran into the grocery store, like not a full grocery shopping trip, obviously, but like if I need milk or something, I could run in to the gas station or whatever. But yeah, I turn on the DVD player, kind of use that. What do you do if a stranger comes, knocks on the window? You know what I mean? Kinda
Yeah,
talk through that
so-
stuff.
Yep.
I'm just teaching. He knows 911, but on the phone, I don't think he could physically. It's just 911.
Yeah.
But I'm always kind of curious because I talk about stranger danger, and I kind of want to not hire because our kids know our friends, so it'd have to be like someone
Just put Calvin in a ski mask.
maybe. And like have them play at the park, and I just kind of step away a little bit, and then have someone just like, "Hey, little boy," or whatever.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. I do this. I play this game with them. Like I pretend I'm this old person, and I'm like, "Hey, little boy, come here. Do you want a candy bar?" And then my kids, I totally freaked them out because they're like, "Ah."
Yeah, but that, I mean, like crying is better than being like, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I'll be like another woman. I'll be like, "Hey, do you guys want to see my puppy in my car?" And my boy's just gonna like, "No, leave me." Like,
Yeah.
I'm playing all the scenarios: old person, young person, woman. So I'm like, everyone, just keep your eyes out for everyone.
Yep.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it's come to now. And so, but stranger danger, I'm always like, I just want to see, like, in real life, what would happen.
Yeah.
Because before all the snow came, it was getting nice out, so I would take the boys to the park. And then, you know, I'm just like always looking over my shoulder. I'm like, like I can't even enjoy the park.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's like almost more mental stress to take them places
Yes.
than to just stay home.
And then so when one would run off, I'd be like, Connor! And then I'm right here. And I'm like, yell your name every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I know that you're there.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
it used to be fun.
I think it's really different in a big city.
True.
A big city like me, you know what I mean? But like
But
I
it's
don't
big compared to where you are.
Yeah, I don't worry about that at all. I've never worried about if my kids were gonna get taken at the park or if they were gonna go missing or anything like that. I think I'm, first of all, very, very naive.
Yeah, but I think my mother ruined me because what was that case? Those two missing girls in Waterloo,
Oh,
Lyric and
Elizabeth.
their thing on Netflix. The dad.
yes,
Had a thing on Netflix or whatever.
yeah, a
Or
documentary.
Hulu or something.
But like that was so close to our hometown, and like my mom, she just like, it just consumed her entire life, and then it just instilled that fear on me for some reason, and I just
We watched way too much Law and Order growing
same.
up. So like,
Way too much. I would
That-
never let my kids watch Law and Order.
but honestly,
Yes.
like that instilled its own. Like I feel I don't ever remember having those conversations with my mom, but those are things that I know.
Yeah.
you watched
So-
it because of the show, and you're like, oh, don't do that,
Right.
Or
And so
watch
like,
out for that.
did my mom teach us those things? Maybe. I don't remember those conversations, but we watched that show enough
Yeah.
that I know like you don't go somewhere with people that you don't know. You don't do this. Like it makes me weary of people out
Law
in
and
public,
Order
even as an adult.
and Dateline.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, I just sit down and watch a segment, and I'm like, okay, don't do that.
Yeah, we've talked about like party stages from us like as teenagers. I never did that because I always knew like if you're at a party and someone spikes your drink, like you could get raped and murdered. Like, so don't go to parties. There you go, done. Avoiding that, like
Wasn't
you
cool
know.
enough. So
Well, that too, but like even still, like even if I was, like I would have been very careful or I would not drink at all or like,
Yeah, I went to a party, and it was kind of crazy because it was kids of like all cliques and just willy-nilly, just whatever. And I'm like, wow, like literally anything could happen.
Yeah, I remember hearing stories of parties in high school and people like just being like dropped out of a car on the side of the road somewhere drunk, like
And
passed
just
out.
everyone just they were just in their own bubble, didn't
Yep.
pay attention. And I've always looked out at a scene, like,
Sorry, I'm making so much noise today.
It's okay.
I'm blowing my nose. I'm chewing my ice. I put ice in my mouth, and I'm like, you can't chew ice on the microphone. So I'm
It's
just
okay.
like
It's okay.
quiet crunching.
I had a big sniff last episode.
Well, I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah. You just need to put a little tissue ball up your
Yeah.
nose holes. Just do it.
I got some tampons. Do
Oh,
that.
hilarious. But yeah, I mean,
But I've always just wanted to scan the room. Always, like not even looking over my shoulders. I just want to scan the room.
Yep.
Look at everyone. So if something did happen, I could go to the police and put a description like, "Yep, they were 5'7", brown hair, brown eyes."
Yes, I'll sit down with the sketch artist.
I can always tell like when I feel safe because looking back, I'll realize like, oh, I don't really remember what these people looked like where we were. Or like, like when I'm with Calvin, I feel a lot more safe, obviously. So I don't pay as close of attention to those things. But when it's just me and the boys, like I'm looking at every single person's face that we
I
cross
saw
paths with.
such a realistic TikTok, and it was a mom with her 2 kids by herself, and the background noise was just background noise, like anxiety talking all over. And it's like what it's like shopping by myself with my kids. It's
Yep.
like like all this chitter and anxiety. And then when it's with her husband, just a peaceful, serene music. And I'm like, yes.
When
Yeah.
we're even walking through the grocery
Do
store.
they have that then?
Oh, I would doubt it. Well, maybe Calvin does.
No,
sometimes,
I think Nick would, yeah. I think
Nick's
so.
different though. Doesn't
I'm
he
so
have anxiety
naive.
too?
Huh?
Doesn't he have anxiety too?
Yes.
So it's a little
But
different.
that's with if something happens. If
Yeah.
we need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
His anxiety spikes.
Yeah.
His aura ring just spikes. It lets him know, like,
that's
hey,
funny.
you were really stressed out.
Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, I don't know. But even like walking through the grocery store and if we're in a busy area and I lead and my kids are behind me, I'm walking
I'm like,
half
"Get your
turned
ass
around
up here
because I'm
and
trying to
walk
watch where
to
my
me."
kids are behind me and look ahead of me to like see where I'm going. Like it's stressful.
It
It's
is.
stressful.
It is.
That's why sometimes it's really nice to just like go to the store by myself. It's so
Yeah.
quiet, so peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah.
There was a case 3 years ago, where a child was left sleeping in their car seat. And that was like a big no-no at daycare. Like you're never, like if a child comes and they're asleep in their
For
infant
suffocation
car
purposes.
seat.
At
Right.
daycare.
At daycare, yes.
Yep.
Oh, like the daycare.
Left
Let
in their
them
car seat.
sleep in their car seat with only the top buckle on.
Mm-hmm.
So the child slipped down and then was strangled by the top buckle of the car seat and passed away. and they're still pending court charges.
That's very sad.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It was like an 18-month-old.
Oh,
It wasn't even like a baby.
You would think that the baby would have woken up, but I guess I don't recall like what the age is that they have those natural reflexes to
Yeah.
like the gasp reflex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
So when you were talking about daycares, that case came to my mind.
we have multiple cases in our surrounding areas that deal with abuse.
abuse.
So, yeah, like there was at least one I know of that was sexual abuse, and then there was a couple that were like physical
It's always
abuse.
from my not experience, but from what I've read on articles, it's almost always like not the female childcare provider, it's the male that like the husband or the boyfriend or the whatever that's in the house with the children as well.
The sexual abuse case around here I know was a woman.
Was a woman.
Yeah, I don't recall for the other
Yeah.
one or two. I forget that it was that I was thinking of specifically, but
So Sarah, I don't know if you heard about. So there's a facility here in Mason. It's not a daycare, but it's where kids go who are troubled. And there was an article because a worker was saying there is so much going on. We are understaffed. The staff is treating these kids horribly, and I think they're being looked at or being sued or something. But like, and I was reading the articles and I'm like, how? And they're like, this has been going on for years.
oh yeah,
Flying under the radar. No one knows. And it's like, it's scary because this is supposed to be a safe place for kids who don't have a family member or like, they're
Troubled children.
troubled.
So I
Yeah.
worked not at this facility, but a parallel, I guess, facility. So we would have those kids in a separate setting.
The troubled ones? Okay.
And we heard even then some things. And this
Oh
was,
my goodness.
8 or 9 years ago that I worked at this place. But it's hard because and this is again not to say that you wouldn't believe them, but these are kids who come from similar issues in their home lives.
And that's what this
so
article was saying, like, oh, she's just faking
sometimes
it.
sometimes as children they're unable to like understand the differences in putting boundaries in place and like real situations, real danger. And so I don't know. I think it should absolutely be investigated just because of the nature of it. Obviously, it's children and they need advocates because they're children.
Because it
But
kind of
yeah,
falls
it's-
along with like the daycare,
Yeah, it's very difficult.
daycare's abuse, and then there's,
Yeah.
what would you even call it? Like,
Dependent abuse. I don't know. It'd be dependent children abuse
Yeah.
instead of like a dependent adult. Whenever anyone is dependent on someone else, it's a scary situation because there's always opportunities for, I don't know, abuse or negligence or neglect.
Yeah, for sure, negligence.
Yeah.
Because in the
So-
article, it stated that this worker, he'd want to call the cops.
Are you talking specifically about this article that came about because of these posts that were on Facebook? Because that's where I first saw about it recently, at least.
Yeah, he made a post,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. And then now this article came out.
Yeah. Well, and on both sides of that, there are people who've worked there or gone there who had really great experiences. And there are people on the flip side who have said, I worked here or I went here. I know someone who went here and had terrible experiences and were abused and everything. So, yeah. Yeah.
So tough.
Yeah.
I remember I applied, but I think she just kind of looked, because I was just a young, umpy, like, oh yeah, like I thought they were like, just toddlers. And I think she looked at me as weak.
I don't think
And then
they
I
would.
never got a call back. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you gotta have thick skin to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think I apparently didn't show that I was.
We get a lot of kids in the ER around that 12, 13-ish year old age that end up needing psychiatric placement.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
really
goodness.
difficult to get.
Yep.
And it's usually across the state.
Yep.
They'll go to Council Bluffs. They'll go
There
to
are only certain
Clive.
facilities that are available for this level of care.
Yes.
snowplow outside or something.
I emailed them.
I was gonna say your plow guy is shirking his duties a little bit.
Yeah.
So is Calvin, by the way. So don't feel bad. I texted him this morning. I was like, "Are you gonna shovel the driveway soon? Because I've got like 3 inches of snow in my shoes." Yeah.
It's funny.
So yeah, I'll have to maybe post this article because it's out in the public, so like anyone can read it.
It's public, yeah.
Yeah,
But it is sad.
it is. Because like I never think of these kids. You know, I don't. It's
Well,
always
they're,
daycare.
They're sort of like fringe society. I hate to say it that way, but they're sort of fringe people right now because they are not like necessarily integrated as much into our like regular society as just
Yeah.
daycare children who go home. So it's a little different.
That could
It's
be,
different.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's different.
I figured because I was a parent, so I'm like, okay, like daycare.
Yeah, they're very similar. Yeah, it's dependent children
Yeah.
in a facility. So yeah,
You
very
guys
sad.
ever considered being foster parents or adopting?
Heck no.
No.
Adopting we've considered. Fostering no. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
Well, we thought about having a foreign exchange student.
Oh, interesting. Like teenager, high school.
Yeah, because I don't know how we got. Because Nick and I, we were just newly married, so that's why I said I was like, okay, maybe it's too much for us. That's why I got cold feet, right?
Yeah.
But you could talk to someone, and then they would say, "What ages do you prefer?" And Nick and I were like, "Oh, maybe like middle school." And then if you want an athlete, or I mean,
Like
you
an
have to.
academic or something.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, let's do an athlete. That'd be fun. Because Nick and I, we were both working out at the time. And so there was a boy from, I think it was Brazil.
Wow, cool.
Yep. He wrote a letter and everything. Like, I'm super excited if you choose me. I've never been to the States before. I play soccer. I love soccer. It's my whole life. I'm so curious to see how you guys live your life in the U.S. And I'm like, this little boy sounds so sweet. And then I started feeling like, I've got nothing interesting to show him. And I told my mom, she's like, you could bring him out to the farm. And I'm like, yeah, but that's only cool for like a day. Like, I can only show him. And she was like, well, you could take him to the monuments. You could take him to this. And I'm like, maybe. And then I just got cold feet. And I'm like, you know,
How long was the program supposed to be?
I think a whole year.
Wow.
You'd have him for the whole school year.
Wow.
Yeah.
My
So
sister-in-law-
maybe-
Would you ever send your middle schooler away for
Exactly.
that long?
But
My
like,
sister-in-law, though, they hosted a foreign exchange student, and years ago now, because my nephew is almost 21. He is 21 as of yesterday, and this was when he was like 12, right? So this was 10 years ago. But they've kept in contact, and they just went to her wedding this past year. So you know, you form lifelong friendships with some of these people.
So I think maybe we'd do it if the kids were a little older.
Yeah, someone in their own grade who they could like experience. Absolutely.
Yep.
One of my best friends my senior year was a foreign exchange student from Denmark. So,
Cool.
yeah,
We had
Franz.
a number of
Shout out
foreign exchange
Franz.
students.
Yep.
Yeah, you should send this to him.
Were you high school then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because high school was a lot of the foreign exchange students. That
Yes,
was,
ours too.
And like all of us were so excited. Like, are they hot? You know.
Oh my gosh.
Franz was pretty dreamy. I will say.
Or-
I had a big
Denmark.
crush on him. Yeah.
Yep. We had a kid from France, and he was pretty good looking. But I think like his grades were slipping.
Oh no.
So then they're like, hey, if you have to be in this program, your grades have to be like
Yeah.
up to here. So they had to ship him back.
Back to France.
We had German students, I think, my freshman year.
Germany's were really popular for students.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Germans too.
Yeah, when I went to Germany and I was basically foreign exchange, like our host family picked us or whatever, we had to write letters for the same thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was really cool just seeing that. But I'm like, maybe when we're a little older and, we'll do it again. We'll try again.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fostering, I don't think I'm well equipped to foster.
Our house isn't big enough.
Ours
They'd have
either.
to share a room, and that's like a big no-no in foster care. They
Yeah.
have to have their own room, their own space, and
Yeah.
we just don't have it.
Yeah, us either. We don't have the space that we for our own kids right now because of our dogs. So they have to share a room. So
I didn't know you have dogs.
yeah, we have 2 dogs.
I thought you were allergic to dog fur.
I am.
She's got filters going
was
like
like-
crazy in their house.
When we got our small dog's not that bad. Our big dog, she's a Saint Bernard. She is
Olga.
I know. She's very difficult. And to some degree, you become like accustomed to your own dog, so it's not as bad as it is with Mushu. But I'm very careful. Like whenever I pet her, I make sure I go wash my hands right away. And like I generally make Calvin vacuum so that I'm not like breathing in that. And like she's not allowed in the living room or in our bedrooms where there's carpet.
Oh, okay.
Because she gets hair on the couch and like,
Slobber everywhere.
Yeah, and so she has her own room that she like sleeps in. So that's our third bedroom right now. So yeah,
I'm just kind of scared with fostering because you don't know what the situation they're coming out of. I had a friend, her grandparents fostered for a long time when forever. And when her mom, this girl that I'm talking about, when her mom was pregnant with her, they had this bouncy little 4-year-old boy who was just, living life. And then every time he saw her mom pregnant, he would just like stop and just stare and like was just kind of weird. And like the mom was kind of like, hey, what's up with this boy? Why is he always just kind of creeping me out? And the grandparents are like, what are you talking about? And she's like, he just kind of looks at me weird. And, the grandparents are like, no, he's fine. But like every time she came around with her big pregnant belly, he just like would just follow her and just stare at her. And then the grandparents are like, well, okay, now we see it. So I think they called the place and were like, hey, he's great.
like,
but
what's the background?
Yeah. And they were like, okay, so he came from an abusive parents. And then the mom was pregnant and gave birth to his baby sister on their kitchen table as the dad was trying to like help with the situation. And like seeing pregnancy is scary, but like
traumatic.
You got blood, you've got stuff coming out of them.
Yeah.
And this little boy was just there in the kitchen watching his mom give birth to his baby sister. So I think he was just kind of like
nervous. He was probably
freaked
like,
out.
He's
like,
like,
what the heck is
to witness
happening?
this again?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And then when he sees a pregnant woman, he just like, I saw what happened
re-traumatized.
down there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so sad.
That's sad, yeah.
And then, her grandparents, they have wild stories of like
Children that they've taken in.
what they've seen and everything. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But they just dedicated their whole lives to like helping
I think
these
those
children.
people who can handle that are so
Saints.
wonderful.
Yes.
So wonderful. I know that I'm not mentally equipped
Yeah.
to be able to handle that.
We've thought about doing respite foster care.
Oh, wow.
What's that?
You provide foster care for families who have a foster kid. So say like they want to go on vacation, they just want to do just their family or something, but they have a foster child, the foster child would come and stay.
And you
It's
get their
like
own
foster
vacation.
care. Yes. It's like foster care for your foster child.
It's a little sad.
Or
but
like time by themselves. Because, I mean, that's still important as a family to, but, or say they're going out of town or something like that.
Because I think there are rules too with foster care. I don't know.
Some kids can't cross state lines
Right,
without permission.
dependent on
and,
so there are rules that go with that.
Yes.
So it's not just
It's not
like
just like we don't
a
want
selfish.
Yeah.
That sounds bad. I don't mean it to be like selfish, but
Okay.
but
that
yeah,
makes sense.
So
Yep, they come. Yeah, I mean, I talked to a lady who I think was in CPS or DHS or something, and she said, "Yep, all the babies get taken, all the toddlers. Everybody wants babies and toddlers." And I'm like, "Sure,
Yeah.
they're easy. They don't come with baggage." And she's like, "But these teenagers really need the love and care." And I saw TikToks of this mom. She's like, I'm going to foster a teenager for the first time. I heard that I'm having a girl. And she set up the bed really nice. She's like, I bought new bedding. She has baskets of like sanitary stuff.
Yep.
Everything. She's like, I bought her new clothes and everything. And the comments were so sweet because one girl was like, I was a teen foster and I absolutely would have loved this kind of care.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, they need the love too.
Yeah.
And then I talked to another lady. She worked at a juvenile's like prison or something around here, like maybe just a juvenile
facility
facility. And
could be the same facility you were talking about earlier.
maybe.
Okay.
And it was mostly for boys, and she would she was like their mother hen, and she's like, so many of them would be like, can you please adopt me? Can you
Yeah.
please adopt me?
Oh.
And she's like, seriously, these teenagers need love. And then when we saw that Mark Wahlberg movie with the girl from Bridesmaids,
Kristen Wiig.
no, the other one,
McCarthy.
Rose Bryn. I think that's the actress's name. But it was based on a true story of like fostering and the process of it. And Mark Wahlberg and his wife fostered 3 siblings: a teenager, a 11-year-old, and like a 6-year-old. And the movie was expressing the troubles, the heartaches, and the goals. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's in my future at some point in time that we would foster or adopt,
Wow.
Adopt.
That's really nice.
potentially.
We talked about adoption before
Foster.
we had kids.
I've always wanted to foster. I've
Really?
looked, but not right now. Not with our kids so little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know. I think like when you get to that like empty nest feeling,
yes,
I think that would be like a good time.
when I'm 45, all my kids will be moved out. So I mean, I've got plenty of time to
Yeah.
take someone under my wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. A teen would be sweet, but then it's like, they're a teen still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got hormones. They've
I
got
know, I was a
rage.
terrible teen, so ooh,
I was just mouthy
hate
to my mom.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just mean.
I was mean to my dad. I don't know why.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
hormones and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. I know. I get
I
it.
could go back.
I know. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Okay. So I guess leave us a comment if you've thought about adoption, if you thought about fostering, daycares.
Yeah. What's your experiences with daycares or anything really? I don't know. Just leave us a comment about something.
Yeah.
We love to chat.
Check out the stories every Friday ish
Or Saturday.
or Saturday
Whatever.
ish.
If you catch it on time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna try for my goal is to ask more poll questions so we can get people like-
Interaction.
interaction.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
know I'm
answer
usually
'em.
one of the first ones, and it's like 100% this because I'm the one that's answered.
Yes.
Yeah, my phone's always ding 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 ding.
I know. I'm sorry. Like I turn my notifications off
Yeah.
for like everything. So if anyone is addressing me specifically, like sometimes my mom will send messages to that page, and then Hannah will have to tell me like, "Hey, your mom messaged." So sorry if you're ever like trying to address me specifically.
But thanks
I
for
won't answer
listening.
right away.
Yep.
Yeah, but thanks for listening. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like us, comment, rate, review.
Does your mom listen to the podcast?
Yes.
My mom does not listen to the podcast.
What's your mom's name?
Joe.
Joe. Naughty Joe.
Naughty Joe. She's going to be a guest on here someday.
Joe.
Yep.
What does Joe want to talk about?
Well, she's got a plethora of
Wow,
things
okay.
to talk about.
Is this like backlog? Like she's got things to say about previous episodes or?
No, I don't think she's ever listened to an episode.
Oh, Joe.
But she's not new to the internet.
No, it's
No.
true.
So
She's an internet sensation.
so we
Yeah.
could, her whole life experience, everything.
True.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe to get all our moms on here one day.
Yeah.
I don't know if my mom would do it.
What's your mom's name?
Sue.
Sue. Come on, Sue.
Sue heck.
Yeah, maybe you've never seen her messages that she sends.
Yes,
Every
I
once
have.
in a while she
Yep.
does. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Definitely have. All right. Well, this has been Calissa.
Hannah.
And Sarah.
Bye.